Everybody, hello, good evening to every one of you. Thank you for your special day today on Saturday. It's a nice view, right? If you have seen us. Yeah, thank you for taking this special day Saturday. Xavier, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I understand that you have a motto of yourself, right? And that is curious and wants to keep learning. Can you tell us more about what curious you every time?
Actually, I think every child was kind of born curious, right? Every child was kind of born curious, and for me, what happened is my parents have always allowed me to play and always foster that curiosity, allow me to explore. I'm the only child, right? So I think
only child daughter too.
You're only child.
I have a daughter that's only child.
So special lah, right? So I guess you give her a lot of attention, and she has the free will to try what she wants to try. Yes. And if you don't, if you don't have to do very much to keep that curiosity there. You just need to don't stop it, right? So I guess that was the curiosity that came on. So that's one part of the curious that is there, right? And then the second part about keeping learning, I guess, was encouragement from parents, right? So they actually support us and say that, hey, you should learn, you should keep trying to find out something new, and they also support, right? Like support with money, right? Sure. Because like even when I was in army, 18 years old, I remember my dad was like, oh, what do you want to do this time? And actually I didn't know what I want to do. But my dad was like, what are you going to get a car license? At that point I was like, why do I need a car license? He said, no, why not, just go and take it lah. I'm like, oh, okay lor. So that has been the attitude towards learning even since young, right? So if you don't know what to do, it's okay, just learn something. If you don't know what is it, never mind, just learn it, right? So that was how my dad actually helped to foster this learning spirit.
So you see, being curiosity is good, right? It's a positive things. You get to learn more things when you ask questions. It's the same thing, right? So curiosity is always healthy, is good. Question for him will be, do you know that I never truly know you, like I've said, right, and your background until the opportunity of this given interview. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and then at the same time my TikTok members and followers can also, join us to understand you better, because we all want to be involved in this new technology, but some of them, like my friends and so forth, they are worried. It's like, is this for a certain particular age group? So maybe Xavier can later cover this as well. Alright. Do you still blog nowadays? Because I found your history, your interesting information, your experiences all in your blog. Are you still keeping that?
Yeah, actually I do have a blog, right? But it wasn't. It was actually meant for me to reflect on myself, right? So I actually tried making videos like this and on TikTok. I tried making audio, I tried talking to my friends, I tried blogging. So blogging was just one of those ways, and I found that it was a good way for me to reflect myself. So actually the blog was not really meant for everybody to read. I mean, I'm happy that everybody is reading it, right? But it was meant for me to reflect on myself, because the first blog I actually wrote was not the one that you saw.
Okay.
Right? It was another thing that I wrote when I was, I think, 15 or 16 years old. Yes. So when I look back, I was like, oh, I couldn't believe that was what I thought when I was younger. Then I realized that, actually, if I knew that I was younger, I think like that, right? It helps me to think better, because I start to see the progression of where my thoughts came from, right? I mean, can you remember what you were thinking 10 years ago?
But I do keep like a journal. So that's one of our era that we use. Maybe like journals you write in a book and so forth. But I was like, wow, this guy, when I was googling about him, and I said, so amazing, he put his feelings in public, because it's a different era altogether, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. That's why I was finding that this man is very truthful in whatever he is writing about, his feelings, alright, and what he has encountered, and he just literally put everything. So it's like, I seldom search people, alright, because I always felt that if I know you, I know you, right? So I will, but taking this opportunity, trying to make interview with him excites me, and of course, I also felt that it's good to know him better, and so I started to do a search to find out more about him, and I was amazed about the history that he has been, the encountering that he has gone to. So that's why I'm throwing all these questions to him, which I know you can read some about it through it if you search his name, but there are more questions than hearing directly from him, right? So stay put with us, and please feel free to key in any questions that you have for my guest here, Xavier Fok. For those of you who join us, please, Alexia, okay, just help us, all right, and stay put with more questions, particularly to TikTok that we want to cover on today, because I think a lot of interesting questions, and he is the man behind who will be more than willing to share with you why this platform is just as interesting. It's not what I think as well, right? Okay, one more question is, do you mind sharing some experiences of your date during your younger days? Because he wrote a bit, right? He wrote quite a bit about that relationship. So let him engage with the audience as well, and probably share with us.
Alright, I guess it's something the audience might be more interested in, right?
Yes.
The dating during younger days. I'm not sure which one you read, you know. Was it the 3-year one or the 7-year one?
Yes,
or
there's a few you wrote.
There's a
Almost,
few.
yes.
I guess I'll start off with the one that I think the audience might more relate to, right? Will be my very first girlfriend of 3 years in secondary school, secondary 3, right? So I think at that point in time, I would say quite, I think the correct word would be irritating, right? Back then the technology, there was no WhatsApp, so you get SMS, right? So I would secretly go and take the girl's number and send them an SMS. So you call that, nowadays you call that stalking,
Yeah.
right? But back then, sometimes you don't know what to do, right? So you start to message them. By right, you're supposed to ask formally or properly for a number, not creepily, right? But I guess that when I was young, I didn't know, right? Okay, so that was the kind of like the start of the first relationship. That was the kind of like the only girl that kind of gave me a chance, because who wants to talk to the creep, right? So,
No. It's like puppy love, right? When you're in love, you just do not know what you're talking, but your heart just pounds and pounds, right?
Yes. So that relationship was. I mean, we spent quite a lot of time partying.
Oh, okay.
Right now that you mention it, right? Now you mention it, right? So
That's good
we
for parents.
study. So but I don't think we had a very clear idea of what a relationship is all about, right? Like you say, puppy love, right? Kind of like that,
Yeah.
right? So when we woke up, the pain was also not that bad because
Very young.
yeah, still young, right? I don't know whether you call it young, but it was like wake up at like 17,
Yeah.
right? Something like that.
Okay.
Right. Then came the second relationship in high school. Now that's the painful one. That's the one that changes everyone, right? So that was the one where I think the hormones was more surging, right? And that was the longest relationship. You really hope that this will work, right? And I think that's the time where the ugly side of myself kind of came out as well.
Okay.
Right? So that is the part where I think you really reflect why you behave like that. I think that's the point where all the guys start to misbehave, not out of a bad intention, but that's the part where because you are louder and because you act more, right, all your flaws start to come up.
Yes.
Right? So that's the time where I started to realize that I didn't know what was appreciation. I didn't know what that was. It doesn't exist in my family. There's no gratitude. There's no respect. There's no respect. Right? So I only, in fact, even after we broke up, I still don't know what was respect. Until 2 years later, then I started to understand what respect, gratitude, forgiveness was all about. Right? So you can imagine, right, if you're with a guy that is not respectful of you and doesn't say thank you, right, that's not a very pleasant person to be with. So, but that was me, right, back in my younger relationship.
So you see, it's never easy for a man to admit all these, right? So you see, so I find him interesting because, yeah, he literally shared, and who on earth would share this in public? I will always hide behind and share. So that's something I like about him. When I read about his blog, I find that this guy is very interesting, and he has a very different character as well, right? I'm sure the audience, you agree. If you agree, please type a yes. If you're there,
Right.
can you show some emoji so that it also encourages to share more with you? And yeah, those of you who are joining us today, my special guest today, Xavier Fok, who does early media, and he will be sharing with us on the topic on TikTok later part. So stay put, and if you have any other questions that you want to ask, please feel free to type in the chat itself so that we can actually engage with you at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, one more question, which will be about what will the advice that you will give, all right, for those of you, because in TikTok we have a lot of youngsters. Personally, I felt that they are like, what age group? Some 13, teenagers, 18, yeah, younger group crowd, right? What would you advise the younger audience out there about dating?
About dating,
Yeah.
I think one of the most important thing is not the other party, it's actually yourself, right? So you want to know more about yourself, why you are behaving the way that you are, what you believe in, right? These are very difficult questions to answer. You are not gonna get them answered within 1 or 2 years. But you must ask, right? What you believe in, what you feel is important to you, and after a while, it becomes very clear who you should be dating. Right, which is why they always say that you normally date 3, right? Like the first one is the puppy love, the second one is the infatuation, and the third one finally you marry, right? But actually the first 2 is for you to realize who you really are, and what you are all, what is your mistake, what are you good at, right? So really spend time asking that about yourself, because the only people that will match with you are those that can match your beliefs and your strength and your weaknesses, right? So I think that's the important thing, lah.
So you guys believe you have to date more in order to find one?
3 lah, 3.
Three.
You guys believe in first love, you can find one and you just marry. That didn't work out for me. That didn't work out for me.
But it happens to me.
Okay, very lucky.
But it happens to me.
Okay, very lucky. Lucky you. Lucky you.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, for those of you who join us today, we have an interesting topic today on TikTok, and then more importantly, my special guest today, Xavier Fok, who will be discussing with us more on TikTok. Right, so stay put with us, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to type in your questions there. Yes, yeah, for those of you who joined, thank you and join. Okay, one more questions about what are some of your clients, because you talk about in your blog there are some customers who spoil your day, right? I think we all encounter that, or not even customers, sometimes certain people you meet and then they spoil your day and you call them ridiculous clients or customers. What is the definition for ridiculous customers?
Is there a specific blog post you are referring to? Which year did I write it? Because I think
it's like 2012 probably. I think it's mainly like about pretty long ago, like 2012, or 2012, 2015 period. It happens to be your top search, top 10 search first page.
Can you remind me? Can you remind me how it kind of went? Like what was I complaining about, or what was what's the pain point there?
Okay, I guess probably some clients like call on probably like ridiculous hours or demand for certain things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then you felt that you still want to provide them the best service, but I mean personally, I also have such encounters with customers who are demanding, ridiculous, and it's like somehow it's not all fault of ours or even our staff, but then because they have a certain expectation. So to me, it's like most of the time it's always when we couldn't meet a certain expectation of another parties, and that because they either demand for certain things that we couldn't achieve or fulfill.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess maybe just to understand further. Yeah.
I think back then in 2012 to 15, I guess the experience that I was talking about was actually a partner rather than a client, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think there is some partnership.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened was I think I delivered the bean curd 10 or 20 pieces.
Yes.
Right? And then they dropped it.
Okay.
Right? So if you drop it, it's your fault.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So they actually asked us to replace it for them at no cost. Even though they acknowledge that they have dropped it.
Okay.
Right?
Alright,
So
yes,
I think that was the specific experience that led me to say that it was ridiculous. Right?
Okay.
But now, okay, you see, that's why I wrote this in my blog, because even though that was what I said at that time, I'm not going to go back and change it. I'm going to leave it there.
Sure.
Right? But as I grow older, I look at that experience a little differently.
Yes, definitely.
Right? And what I felt about that right now is that I guess they were probably just not aware that they are supposed to take responsibility for their own actions, right? And I kind of don't really blame them, because the thing is that responsibility is something that you learn, okay, which is one of the blog posts that I wrote in the last few months, right? And it was quite shocking to me, because I assume that responsibility is someone everyone should have, right? But after dealing with more people in that, you realize that actually a lot of people don't have a sense of responsibility, and that's because they were not taught this is not something you just go up with.
Yes.
You know, you must be taught, right? So that was that. Then now I have a different idea of these customers as well, right?
Sure.
Which is sometimes the clients or customers, they have very high hopes. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, but my budget is this, right?
Yeah.
So at first I didn't quite like that. When I first started, I'm like, hey, your budget is like that. You know, you should set a more realistic expectation.
Yes.
Then I realized that that's also not the right thinking, because then you don't know what you want, you see.
Yeah.
So it's better for them to tell you, okay, these are the 10 things that I want, right? But of course I only have a few dollars. I can't have all 10, right? But to find one that understands that, yeah, I know I don't have all 10, and they trust that the vendor or whoever is servicing them to say, okay, out of this 10 I can't give you all 10, right? I can give you maybe these 2 or 3, right? And I will do it at this rate in a realistic time frame, right? And of course, hopefully the one that we end up working with is the one that will understand that, yeah, my budget is not enough for that, and I accept 1, 2, 3 first, and then of course later, as we perform better, we'll do 4 and 5, right? So that would be reasonable, which I used to think was was unreasonable, but actually that was more of me not understanding how the market works, right? But of course, again, there's also a group of customers or clients out there that think, hey, I got $2, but I want all 10, right? And that's how you know that that's not who you should be serving, right? Not because you can't do that job, right? And I mean, I think the customer is also in for a lesson, right? They have to learn on their own that it's not possible to get everything, right? So that's my view of the issue right now. I'm sure you ask me 5-10 years again, it's going to change again. But
Definitely. I fully agree that because there are situations that we go through, some of our life experiences, right? And also during then the situations that we are in, and how we reacted to then that particular customers or situations as well. So yeah, it's always interesting to know that as we grow, we also take things very differently. As we mature, we also take it very lightly. All right, and at a younger age, maybe this could be our very first start, and every customer is important to us, right? So yeah, I fully agree. In terms on as we passes by, that's why I say it's a good thing that I like is that you put it, in your blog, and then it's like it's sort of able to go back and assess, and then look back again how we think differently at different times.
I feel that the blog, one of the secondary purposes of the blog, is also for someone like you to read it, and then that's when you decide either one of two things, right? Either you decide that resonates with you, because I mean, if you like it, chances are you've been through a similar experience, right? And you can understand, I like this guy even more, and I even more want to work with him because I think he will understand every struggle, not every, but some of the struggles that I'm going through, right? But actually there's another outcome, right? There's another outcome which happened before, is that you find that my experiences totally doesn't resonate with you, and you don't make these mistakes, and you don't want to talk to this guy, which is fine too, right? Because then we don't waste time on each other, because if you were to meet, you will have what I call a conflict of interest, conflict of, I don't know, whatever that is, conflict of direction, because we're not heading the same way in life, because we don't have the same life experience, right? So the blog serves as a way to strengthen good relationships, but also turn away those that will not be beneficial in a real meeting anyway.
Because likely there is no common interest as well. So that's why to each his own, and it is also there's no right or wrong, like I say. And more importantly is that what resonates, and that's where we always, when something resonates with us, we will move forward, and we are more motivated to work, or we are more we look forward, right, to projects that we do at the same time. That's quite interesting. All right, thank you everyone who joined us today. My special guest today, Xavier.
John is here.
Hi John, thanks for joining us. Type in any questions if you have, and Charmaine, thank you for joining us. Who else? Kentora, thank you for joining us as well. So today we have questions related to TikTok, and if you have any more questions that you would like, please feel free to type in your chat group itself. So more interesting questions that I like to ask this man. I heard you pick up the interest of reading books. How many books do you read?
I don't know how many hundreds.
He's a man like a bookworm, And I always find people who read a lot must have a lot of time, which you need to find time to read, right? So what kind of book do you read, and how many books have you read, and how does it serve you? I think a lot of youngsters would like to know, right? especially what kind of book they should read, because there's so many books nowadays, right? What type of book is good, and how fast do you read, like speed reading, or yeah? So share with us.
Hi everyone for joining. Hi John, and hi Belle, and R92Q. Thanks for joining. Alright, so for reading, actually, I don't really like reading, right? I know that there's a group of children or adults that like reading, and usually, from what I understand, right, they have had their parents read to them when they were younger,
yes,
which is why it's enjoyable. Very good mother, right? Fostering the love of reading, right? So, but I'm still lucky enough that my parents bought a few books and just left it there, right? So I remember your Little Red Riding Hood, your Three Little Pigs, right? But no one read to me, right? So I read it myself. But I didn't particularly enjoy it because I don't know, I think to children is whatever your parents do with you is the most enjoyable. Everything else is not as enjoyable, right? So that said, actually after university, right, I actually stopped reading for a bit, because I felt very disillusioned with all the books, right? What's all these books for? Like I think a lot of you guys might be wondering, why do I need to go to school? Why do I need to learn all this? Right? How does it even apply in my life? Right? And of course, eventually you may conclude that I don't need to read this because it doesn't help me, and how has the books, So that was the attitude I kind of adopted for, I would say, about 4 or 5 years, right? Until I saw the decline in my life, right? Because reading is, if you read something, it doesn't benefit you immediately. Same way, if you stop reading, your life doesn't go down immediately. It takes a while before it starts to go down, right?
Yeah.
So that was when I realized that, hey, you need to read to improve, okay? And also at the same time, for what I learned around me was, you see, for me there was only one chance in life, right? And the only chance is to study. There's no other way out for me, right? So after that you start to realize that, okay, if I'm going to get out, what am I going to do? Because you see, for me, nobody's going to mentor me, right? Because I'm not a talent, I'm not the diamond where you polish me and I will go up very well and you can get a share in my company. I'm not part of any special community. I don't know any secrets, right? So how am I going to get to where I want to go, without, there's no way there's only one way there's reading so that's how I went to read. And when I pick up the books, right, basically you pick up the book is for what? Is to build a better life. I mean, I have an idea of what was the idea of better life you have is a nice car or many cars, a very big house, maybe children, but a lot of money for sure, right? So how are you gonna get there? So I pick up all the business books, marketing books, right, and every single book that I believe will get me there. So I mean, most of the books that you guys heard about, I probably read it, right? All is in line in my queue to be read, right? So every time I read, I will feel I actually read out of fear rather than curiosity. I read out of fear rather than curiosity, right? I read out of fear of being left behind in society, right? Yeah, that rather than so I don't think that is the most healthy attitude, right? But it keeps me going, right? And I will encourage that, if you're a parent out there, please read to your child so that they will enjoy it and want to read even without you, right? And even without forcing themselves to improve themselves, right? It's a naturally really enjoyable thing. For me, it's not like that. So it requires extra effort.
But then with the technology these days, you know that there are gadgets where they can read to you, right? Do you recommend such things like that?
Okay, you see, the thing about technology is that they are all very new, but knowledge is actually very old, right? So a lot of the stuff that you see in books are actually things that are over 100, 200, 300 years old, right? And they have been documented in paper. Paper is a very old technology, right? So it documents up to easily 1,000-2,000 years worth of knowledge. But as for the internet, it's only very new, 10, 20 years maybe. So there's not much. So as for technology, let's say even the internet, right? Okay, the only stuff that is worthy on the internet, not only, but the most worthy ones are the books that has been turned into a digital form, because it's still the book. But as for information, even on Google itself that I've written today, right? Yes, the latest technology that have been discovered, yes, that's the best on Google. But what about age-old advice about, let's say, relationships? You can't, because relationships don't really change that much, the way that we interact with each other. So the better materials are still those on paper from 30, 300, 500 years ago.
Wow.
Right? And so even video nowadays, I would say is, well, it's getting better, it's getting more interactive, but for the next 10, 20 years, would still be behind that of books.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm making a point to get my stuff from books to put on video, because I believe that no matter how much you innovate the video, it never gets as good as the books. Not in my lifetime, right? Because it's just so many years.
Yeah. What about a Kindle book?
Kindle book.
Yes.
The thing with Kindle book is, okay, I got a Kindle book, I definitely got my money back, I read there, right? And currently I'm actually reading on NLB app on my iPad.
Okay.
Right? So yes, I'm into that, but I mean, if you can afford it and if you can afford the time and space, you might want a physical book.
Yeah.
But at the rate that I'm reading, right, my bookshelf is full already.
Yeah.
And whatever, I spend $30 per week on a book, and I'm not going to do anything with the book. Then what, donate them away? I mean, I can do that, right? But then I force myself to be on the iPad, but it is not as enjoyable as a physical book.
I fully agree.
But
I'm a hard copy person.
yes, but the thing is that at the rate now, you see, the thing now is that there's this race, whoever reads more wins, you see.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to read at a faster speed, you're going to have to go through that discomfort of reading on an iPad. And I like to read the full copy. I don't read the speed reading, right? Because I feel that a book is an experience, right? So you are not only there to try to appreciate the concept that they teach. A lot of people think book concept, I learn the concept, finish. I don't think that's quite right. I think it's an experience. You want to feel like people like to skip to the chapter 7 to read. Okay, yes, I do that too, but I feel that you need to experience how the person felt, how he was when he was young, his challenges before. Then you can appreciate, oh, why he applied this concept, which may not make sense to you, right? But when you read the first 6 chapters, then you understand that, you see. And so I feel like it's a build up. It's like a movie. You can't just watch the climax, oh, the car crash. But what was the thing, right? And I feel that when you do that, right, that's actually my studying tip as well, right? You memorize everything. So most of the books, if you give me a while, I can recall the whole concept. I can recall how the person was when he was young, what he did. So when I do make a business decision, right, it helps me because I can recall, I can match, okay, last time I made this mistake, which guy made the same mistake. So every time when I take one step, I can refer to a different book each time. But you can only do that because you remember the experience, not just the concept. You remember the experience that led to the concept. Somebody asked a question. Chanel, what do I do if I lost a friend and I have very few friends in school? Chanel, having few friends in school is actually normal, right? Let's say you're in secondary school, you have 1 or 2 friends, it's very normal. If you have friends in primary school, 1 or 2 is also very normal, right? So sometimes you do lose friends, right? So I know you're hoping for some advice to get them back, right? But usually if it's a good friend, you wouldn't really lose them, right? And sometimes people come and go, you just have to learn how to accept it, right? I know this is not what you're hoping to hear, but yeah, that's it. Alright.
Okay, those of you who join us, thank you, Shilon, and thank you for Noon Fudge. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Okay, you sure?
How to do live. Go to Xavier Fok. There is a link. Alright, and he will show you. And if you can, there are also sharing about TikTok itself.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so you can actually click there. Xavier, Xavier, Fok.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you can just go there and tick. Yeah, and let me see. Any chance you're still there, right? Okay, let me give you the place. Where are we, right? Where are we? You are half right somewhere there. Location. Yes. Actually, we are actually at where F1 is at. We are at the Padang. Okay, so if you like the location, please tell us. Announce already. Yes, Padang. Okay, we are at the Padang. This is the night view of Padang. So each week we'll try to be at different location. But if this is majority, find the view is better than my 2 other live, you can always tag us or give us whatever, chat with us so that we will know where we should be. All right. So thank you very much for your time and have a very nice weekend. And we thank you and good night.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.